Ooh, this show is crazy.
This show is really crazy.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. I'm going to be talking about the craziest scenes and my point of view from Euphoria Season 1. Now, so many of you guys told me that I need to watch this show, and whoa. So I am going to be spoiling a bunch of stuff from Season 1, and then I will do another video on Season 2 as soon as I'm done with it. But if you guys are new here, hi, my name is Jess. I'm a person in long-term recovery who has served time in prison, and this channel is about my crazy life, mental health, prison. My light just died. That's so weird. Oh, now it's back. Okay, cool. If you want to follow me on any other social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, Patreon, that's $2. It's only ever going to be $2. All of that is linked down below, as well as my vlog channel and my podcast that I need to record another episode for. I'm working on it. We're getting there. All right, without further ado, let's kick this thing off. The show is very, very sexual. That makes a lot of people uncomfortable, and the show has received a lot of criticism for it being super sexual or sexualizing teenagers. Let's just keep it real. Teenagers have sex. And I know no parent wants to think that, no one wants to admit that that's true, but it's the truth. Not every teenager, of course. I'm sure my comment section is filled with nuns. Okay, but the reality is a lot of teenagers are having sex, so it's kind of, you know, it made me uncomfortable a little bit as a parent that's in her 30s to watch some of these scenes. So I will say that it is very graphic in nature. It's super sexual, super triggering if you're in recovery. So this might not be the show for you. So we'll start with that little disclaimer here. One character stood out to me personally above all of them, and that is Rue. She is me. Like, I relate so much to her. We learn right off the bat that Rue is in rehab and she is an addict. And that is so hard because she's so young. So, you know, I don't think that a lot of people recognize the fact that addiction starts really young for some people. You know, not everyone, but it started really young for me as well. We see from like episode 1 or 2 that she is already taking drugs from a very, very, very young age. And I relate to that so hard. As the show is progressing, you'll see her addiction become worse, and you'll see her do really well and then struggle and relapse and then find recovery again. And that's really, really true. That is a very accurate representation of what it's like to be an addict. I think that's a very real representation of an addict. We struggle and we'll have moments of sobriety and then a relapse, and that's super common for so many. Some people get into addiction and then they find recovery and then they stay in recovery forever. Well, the percentages of people that relapse are so high. I think it's like 70% or something. I relapsed I don't know how many times, and you'll see with Rue that she's struggling really hard. I want to talk about Rue and Fez. Fez is her dealer, so immediately when she's out of rehab, we see Rue go to her dealer to get drugs, and her dealers are young. They're really young. It's Fez and Ashtray. Ash is very young, you know, 12-year-old kid maybe, super young kid. And we see more about what's going on in their plotline later. But with Rue, immediately after rehab, she goes to get drugs. 100% realistic, 100% happens. Yep, accurate. Like, it's such a good representation of getting out of rehab, trying to be normal, and now she's just trying to hide her addiction from her mom. What is really heartbreaking is we also see her go to get clean urine from a childhood friend of hers. And I related to this so hard. She knocks on the door, you know, she asks her friend to pee in a Tylenol bottle or whatever it is so that she could pass a drug test for her mom. Now, her mom is trying so hard. Her mom is trying to get her to, you know, find recovery and be okay. And that is such a heartbreaking dynamic between her and her mom. Well, the dynamic between her and her childhood friend that she went to preschool with is also heartbreaking as the episodes go on, because for the sober friend, she's watching her friend struggle, and that is traumatizing. To see someone that you love, that you grew up with, when you see them change and become addicted to drugs, that is really hard. And what no one is talking about in Season 1 is the therapy that everyone in the show needs. Everyone in the show needs therapy. But just to finish what I'm saying about Rue, she's passing the drug test with her friend's urine, and that is so hard. Then she meets Jules, who is her friend, and she gets really close to Jules, and she finds a period of recovery because of Jules. Throughout Season 1, her relationship with Jules becomes stronger and stronger, and Rue is doing really well, and she is sober. But other people in their circle are saying, oh, Jules, you're doing so much for her. You're so good for her. She's sober. Rue is finally sober. You're doing really good. Rue's doing really well. They keep reiterating that to Jules, and that is a lot of pressure to put on somebody. That is really hard to say, Jules, she is so healthy and sober because of you. Okay, well now Jules feels that pressure and feels like it can't be up to me, like you have to want to stay sober without me. Even though this conversation is not had, that is the general like vibe of what's happening. Like you start to see it more and more throughout season 1. Jules and Rue get into a fight, and there's a lot I want to say about Jules as well, but sticking with Rue for right now, Rue wants to go back to Fez to get drugs. She wants to get high. And there is this scene that is so heartbreaking and so hard to watch, and so many of you emailed me about it, and you're like, yo, would a drug dealer really do this? Is this real? Well, Rue is pounding on the door, begging him to open the door for drugs, and Fez is not having it. He is not opening that door. She's not getting drugs. So many people are like, would a drug dealer really do this? Yes. Yes, a drug dealer would really do that, especially because Fez and Rue are friends, and they have been friends for what seems like forever. So yes, Fez is a drug dealer, but he's also her friend. And I'm just gonna say this, throughout season 1, you have a feeling that Fez is a good person who is doing things that are bad so that he can pay the bills, right? And take care of Ash. Later on, we get more of Fez's story, and it totally makes sense, and you really feel and empathize with Fez's situation. I think that scene is realistic, where Fez is like, you're not gonna get anything, I'm not opening the door for you. And Rue has a total mental breakdown with it, and she's freaking out, and she's like, open the door! You did this to me! And that's a real emotion. She's doing and saying anything she can to get him to open the door so that she feels better, so that she can get high. That's real. Throughout season 1, you see Rue struggle so hard, and she's up and she's down. She's sober and she relapses. She finds pills at Jules' house and she takes them, and you just see her really, really, really struggle. And that is so heartbreaking to see. With Jules, she is trans, and we see her very early on having sex with older men, and one of them turns out to be Nate's dad. Like, it's just so crazy. So along the way, we see Nate find videotapes of his dad having sex with trans women, and that is so difficult for him as a child. We start to see that Nate is bi, I guess, but you also know immediately that this is such a struggle for him because he's in this on again, off again toxic relationship with Maddie, and their relationship is so bad. You see domestic violence in their relationship. You see all kinds of just anger and just so much toxicity. The entire cast needs therapy just from acting these scenes, I think. But in the show, like, they all need therapy. There's so much going on, and it's so interwebbed together. And Maddie is kind of the queen of like the plastics, basically, for Mean Girls, you know? So in season 1, we're just really starting to unravel who these people are, and we're really starting to figure out, like, okay, who is Maddie? Who is Nate? Who is Nate's dad? What the heck? That's crazy. Who is Jules? Rue, who is Rue? What's her story? And Rue, I love Rue so much, but she's kind of, you know, an unrealistic narrator, right? But there's so much that I relate to with Rue, so she's my favorite. Nate is so angry. He's got so much in him, so much anger, so much hatred with himself, outwardly with the world, and there's so much that Nate needs to go to therapy for. He is kind of a danger to other people, especially Maddie. So he chokes Maddie out because Maddie shows up to this fair and she's dressed like a hooker, whatever that means, Nate. Cool. Awful. And he chokes her out. Nate gets arrested. It's just this whole mess. But Nate and Maddie have this toxic, horrible, violent relationship, and Maddie and Nate are constantly trying to make each other jealous. So at the end of season 1, we see again, they're at this dance and they're again trying to make each other jealous, and it's just so awful. And what's incredible, like the dialogue between the other friends are like, you know what, they're probably gonna be married and be happy one day. And everyone's like, yeah, like, no, like they should not be married. Yes, you can tell that they love each other, but it's such a toxic relationship crazy. So there's so much going on there. Now I'm just gonna skip over to Jules because Jules and Nate get into this texting, sexting relationship on this like app or something. And that comes out finally that like, oh my gosh, a person that Jules is falling in love with is actually Nate. What? And Rue is totally obsessing over this and not sleeping. And she's like playing detective and she finally cracks the case and figures it out because Jules doesn't want to tell her. And then Rue is falling in love with Jules and it's just so heavy and it's so much. And oh my God, it's Nate. And then Nate is like, I have to protect my dad, which, okay, cool, I respect it. But Jules wasn't gonna do anything. Maybe if he talked to Jules like a regular person and not a complete psycho, then that conversation would have went better. But Nate is so toxic. He's like, must protect my dad. Okay, he threatens Jules. It's super toxic. It's super uncomfortable. And I just can't imagine how Jules feels because in every situation, every relationship that she's in with a man, so far, from what we see in season 1, they're all like, don't tell anybody, don't ruin my life, don't say anything, like hide this, keep this to yourself. How horrible must that feel? Like that must feel so horrible that you have to secretly be in relationships with people. Jules and Rue even talk about this, you know, I don't know what season I'm on now, but Jules says, I'm not like you. I can't just openly be in a relationship with somebody. I'm different. It's different for me. And that just breaks my heart so bad. That breaks my heart so bad. And I just wanted to hug her. Let me back up a little bit. I'm sorry if this is all over the place, but Jules ended up leaving and Rue relapsed because of that and she was really upset. Well, Jules met this girl named Anna and they were like so cute together and had so much fun partying and everything. Well, Jules has feelings for Anna and you can definitely tell there's something there. Well, that makes Rue really jealous. Like Jules left and Rue was without her and that was really hard for her. And I can only imagine like how abandoned she felt in that. At the end of this last episode in season 1, Jules and Rue are having a great time. Maddie and Nate are being hella toxic and they're trying to make each other jealous and there's all these weird conversations, you know, like the dialogue between their friends were like, I bet Nate and Maddie are gonna live a great life and they're gonna be happy. No, toxic. Absolutely not. They need to be separated. They're so bad for each other and they need therapy. Like everyone needs to go to therapy, please. Rue sees Jules texting Anna. She follows her. They're in the bathroom. Rue is like sad or whatever. And Jules is like, I want you to kiss me. I want you to not think about it. So then they go outside. They have this heart to heart. And you think that, oh my gosh, it's going to happen. They're going to be together. It's okay, right? Wrong. Rue is like, let's just run away. Let's just go to the city. So they go to the train station and Rue backs out and she's shaking and she doesn't want to go. And she's so freaked out because like, I can't really leave. What about my sister? What about my mom? They can't wake up and have me gone. I've put them through so much. And Jules ends up leaving and Rue stays. And it's so hard to watch because you just feel so bad for both of them. Because Jules is like, I thought you were gonna leave with me. But Jules is in love with Anna and she's in love with Rue. And Rue's like, I just love you, but I have a family. Like, it's heartbreaking. It's a heartbreaking scene. And it ends with Rue relapsing. Right? Also, I never talked about Mouse. This scene, Mouse is the dealer to Fez. He's his connect. And Mouse comes over and basically forces Rue to take fentanyl. And now she's gonna want fentanyl, right? Now, a lot of people believe that this is what dealers do to get people addicted, and that's like very, very common. I personally have never seen a dealer do this. However, I do know that it does happen. So just because I have not experienced this, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So I would say this is a realistic dynamic here where Mouse wants the money from Fez, but Mouse has this like power and control over Fez that he likes. He's addicted to it. He's a freaking horrible person. Like Mouse is horrible. And Fez protects Rue and does whatever he can to make sure that she's okay and has Jules pick her up. I would say that scene 60% realistic because it can happen. We also were gonna see Fez do whatever he has to do to pay Mouse so that he's okay. And he ended up robbing this shady doctor, I think it was. So crazy. And that's the reality as well for dealers. If you lose your money for whatever reason and you have to pay your dude, you're gonna do whatever you have to do to pay that dude. You're gonna rob somebody, you're gonna do whatever so that they don't kill you. That is a very real dynamic between a supplier and a dealer. As a former addict, as a former dealer, I would say this show has a lot of realistic moments in it. It really does. It really captures and captivates what several people are going through in and around addiction. As far as the other stuff like high school stuff or whatever, I don't know, but in and around addiction, this paints a very realistic picture in my perspective, you know, so it's a great show, super triggering, so don't watch it if you are triggered by these kinds of things because there's a lot of use in it. If you guys are struggling in addiction, I'm a partner with Groups Recover Together. They are both online and in-person treatment program. They strongly lean on harm reduction. They are 420 friendly and they're just an amazing team of people. They help with opioid addiction and they are there for you in any capacity that they can be there for you. And if they can't help you, they will find somebody that can. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you smash that subscribe button. But I'm going to end today's video here. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay in recovery, whatever that looks like to you. And I will see you guys in my next one.